Thank you for tuning in. This is Sean Bland with the state of Alabama. I'm the public relations director, and I am honored today to have the first vice grand bosses. Gotta have fun with you, brother.
All right.
Doctor, excuse me. Protocol says brother, Doctor David Marion. But as everybody in the frat knows, it's just bro Marion. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Thank you, bro. You know, we have fun with you because you always you're just the bruh first, and I appreciate that. And I know a lot of bros when you can't move without bros coming up and speaking to you. So I appreciate you sitting down and just talking to the bros where not everybody might get an opportunity to pick into your brain a little bit. I appreciate you giving us this opportunity.
You're very welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Bruh, I know that you have been all through the 7th District and you met a lot of bros. You've been a lot of chapters, places, and everything else. In fact, with you, I can even probably say you've been all over the country in that situation. What I would want to do, though, is to go ahead and ask one question. Who is, for those brothers that don't know, Dr. David Marion, who is Bro Marion?
Well, I'm Spring 79, A to Zi, chapter at Mississippi State, Mississippi.
Okay.
Came into the fraternity as an undergraduate. I am married. I've been married almost 18 years now.
And First Lady's name is?
Joyce Cole Marion.
Okay, might as well get that out. Get you a few points for that, right?
Okay,
go ahead. Go ahead.
As much as I travel. But yeah, wonderful woman, AKA.
My wife's going to love that. I appreciate it.
So she and I, we've been together 21 years, but we've been married almost 18. We have a daughter together who is Chloe Marion. She's 9 years old. I have 2 other children. One is 34 years old, and she is a registered nurse. She's trying to be a nurse practitioner, going to be that right now. I have another daughter who is in Atlanta. My first daughter, oldest daughter, is named Felicia, and the daughter in Atlanta is Chelsea. And then I have the 9-year-old, which is Chloe. Chelsea is a medical doctor, graduated from Morehouse. So I'm very proud of.
Followed in daddy's footsteps a little bit.
Absolutely. And even the older daughter wants to be a psychiatric nurse practitioner. Will probably be that within a year.
Just had a little influence on
Just a little.
Just a little. Okay.
So that's a little bit about my family.
Okay. Well, bruh, I have watched you go from DR. I got involved when you started kind of getting into the DR realm. And I know my question, along with a lot of the other brothers' questions, what is motivating you to spend all of that time away from your wife and family and everything else to be a part of the upper echelon, you could say, of Omega Psi Phi fraternity? What is driving you at this point in time?
I just think it's my love for Omega Psi Phi. I think I really am in tune to what we do all across this country. And so a lot of brothers don't get the opportunity to really see what I see from my vantage point across the country, the impact that Omega has in its various communities. And when you just have a love for this organization, you want to bring your talents to it to see if you can help take it even to the next level.
Right.
So I can see what it's accomplishing now, but I know we can take it up a notch. So that's why I do it. That's why I sacrifice my time and my time with family and money and those kinds of things.
So, Bro Marion, one of the biggest things that at each level I've seen you do is you have some projects that you're extremely involved, extremely interested in. Now, I would almost call them those pet projects. If you don't mind, tell us some of the ones you were able to accomplish on the district level and some of the things that you're pushing possibly at the grand level.
Well, I think what I call them are lasting impact projects.
Okay.
So, you want to put your name on something and put your stamp on something, and then it lasts indefinitely. And so I think even back when I was state rep of Mississippi, one of my pet projects that still continues to this day is my administration was able to get the Omega Psi Phi car tag.
Right.
And so even years later, they get monies from that car tag that they can apply to scholarships for brothers and for college-bound students. So I really like that. As a 7th district representative, nothing was automated, and so we did everything by hand. And so the only thing we could do online was basically register for a meeting. But any district dues, we wrote a check and put them in the mail. Any MSP dues, we made money orders, we wrote checks, and we sent them through the mail. And so what I wanted was a process that we could automate all of that. And so right now, the 7th district, when I was DR, became the only district at that time where you paid your MSP fees online, you paid your district dues online, and you registered for meetings online. Very interestingly, it is still the only district in the fraternity that does that today. And so that's the kind of things that I wanted to do, not only bring my leadership style, but also do those kinds of things. Now, on the national level, what I've brought to the table is right after I became the first vice DR, first vice Grand Basileus, probably within a month, I met with the National Institute of Health. Matter of fact, it was the National Institute of Minority Health and Health Disparities. And within a month, we had a partnership. And the partnership was centered solely on trying to reduce the stigma attached to mental illness and the stigma attached to going to get help when you've been diagnosed with a mental illness. And so what I asked for chapters to do across the country is to bring mental health experts into the chapter meetings. Let's bring them to talk to us about the signs and symptoms of mental illness, but let's also talk about the resources in our communities of where to go get help. Then let's take this message to our community and try to help folks that way. We have mental health initiatives now all over the country.
Yes.
And so I just think it's a wonderful thing that I've been blessed to be able to do.
Now, what's the name of that mental health?
It's called Brother, You're on My Mind.
And I like the uniqueness of that name because it not only is a fraternal issue, but that's several other types of ways you can bring that into the community. Now, you said something that sparked me because even myself, when you were a DR, had some interaction with you from a leadership standpoint with our chapter. How would you like to explain your leadership style to the brothers out into the area?
Well, I come to the table with the absolute belief that I don't know everything.
Okay.
So I think that gives me the opportunity to be open-minded to any ideas that can come to the table that really make sense. So although I'm open-minded, if it doesn't make sense,
here it comes.
It's not going to pass muster. But if it makes sense, it's going to stir something in me where I'm really going to tune in and listen and be open to that particular suggestion. Now, the suggestions that people need to bring to me are ones that are going to benefit the entire brotherhood. They can't be things that just benefit them. And so that's kind of how I operate.
Now, just to clarify a few things.
Okay.
Just so that you know, the brothers respect, from what I have seen, a very stern but fair leadership style from what we have seen. So that kind of goes in line, I think, with what you not only explained, but what you've also been able to show the brothers over a period of time.
And I think being very prayerful about decisions. So, if anything comes across my desk, it's going to be something that I'm going to give some serious consideration to. I'm going to deliberate about it. I'm going to pray about it. And then because I'm open, we tend to get to a pretty good, fair, and equitable solution.
So now I'm going to preface possibly a future video from you, okay? But you're the first vice at this point in time. First vice grand, excuse me. What should we expect from you as far as projects and potential other issues as we move forward? I know New Orleans is potentially a big time for you coming up, but there is a little time in between now and New Orleans that you're going to be doing what you're doing. What should we expect going into New Orleans? I guess would be a good question.
Well, we want to continue to expand these Brother You're on My Mind initiatives. My hope is that my job as first vice grand is to supervise the committees. My hope is to have a updated history book by the time we get to New Orleans. Also, what we're working on right now is a possible collaboration with the Veterans Administration as relates to mental health. We're also working with NASA to see if we can work out the details for a documentary on Brother Robert Lawrence, who was the first African American astronaut. So we have a lot of things that that are going on right now. We have a mega professional business directory. We want brothers to, and it's free. So we want brothers to register in this directory so that brothers all around the country can see what kind of businesses others are in and then do business one with the other.
Well, what would you like to say to the 7th District and more especially to the state of Alabama at this point in time as we move forward into going into New Orleans?
I think I would say that the 7th District has always supported me. I'm extremely grateful for that. I would not be in the position as first vice grand without my district supporting me. I would not, as it relates to the state of Alabama, would never become first vice DR or 7th District representative without this state's support. And so I'm very glad to have the brothers in this state, and I've worked very hard for them, and they've shown their appreciation and love.
Well, brother First Vice Grand, brother Dr. David Marion, I appreciate you hanging out with us today.
Absolutely.
And obviously, your leadership has helped not only the state of Alabama, but the 7th District. And good luck to you in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.